know whenever you're ready to begin.
Okay. Cyberbullying. On October 27th, 2012, a 13-year-old girl, Erin Gallagher, from Ballygoffey, Donegal, which is in Ireland, was found dead by her relatives. She frequently posted on Ask.fm, a popular social networking site in which messages can be posted anonymously. Erin was constantly tormented for her weight and looks, and she eventually took her own life. Erin's death is the third high-profile apparent suicide linked to cyberbullying within just a matter of weeks. Cyberbullying is the use of technology such as cell phones, email, or social networking sites to harass, threaten, or intimidate someone. And it's often associated with teenagers. So is cyberbullying a problem? Is it illegal? Cyberbullying is a huge problem, and it's increasing more and more, like at home and school. And it is becoming more frequent due to kids getting like their hands on technology at such an early age. Like it's pretty common to see like 12-year-olds walking around with iPhones nowadays. And there are harassment and stalking laws that explicitly address electronic forms of communication, and the punishments vary from in-school suspensions to fines or even jail time. And however, there's one major problem when it comes to actually like instilling these punishments, and especially it has to do with like being on the internet. Does anyone know what that is? Matt?
People being anonymous, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. When you're on the internet, you are completely, for the most part, anonymous. And I say for the most part because there are cases where your IP address can be tracked, and but there are also many ways to prevent that from happening. So being anonymous, you can say the most awful things on the internet and get away with it. And it's kind of like doing something while no one's watching, except all the time. And so I'd like to discuss this idea further, and I'd like to explore the question, to what extent does anonymity affect one's behavior? And it is well known that people say and do things in cyberspace that they wouldn't ordinarily say like in real life to your face. They loosen up and they feel like they can express themselves more openly. And researchers have labeled this as the online disinhibition effect. And there are several psychological factors that go along with this. And these factors supplement and kind of overlap each other, making the disinhibition effect a lot more amplified. So the first is dissociative anonymity. And with this, people have the opportunity to separate their actions from their real-world identity, and because people only know as much about you as much as you tell them. And they feel less vulnerable about opening up, and what you say can't be directly linked to your personal life. And people also don't take responsibility for anything they do online. So if they say like some hostile words to you, they never have to take responsibility for that. And in fact, people might even convince themselves that their harsh behaviors online don't represent them at all. And in psychology, this is called dissociation. The next factor is invisibility, and this factor greatly complements dissociative anonymity. And online invisibility gives people the courage to go places and do things that they otherwise wouldn't do. And nobody can see or hear you, and you can't see or hear them. So even if everyone's identity were visible, the fact that you're just physically not there just greatly amplifies the disinhibition effect. Because you don't have to worry about how you look or sound when you say something, and you don't have to worry about the physical reaction of others when you say something. So, if you see like a frown or just a look of disapproval, just like a sigh, that might halt you in like what you wish to express to someone in the real world. The next, I have an example for this. For example, in psychoanalysis, when the analysis sits behind the patient, he's doing that to like remain physically ambiguous. So the patient can't see like any body language or facial expressions, and that way the patient can just like say whatever's on his mind without being pressured by how the analysis reacts. And in everyday relationships, people also sometimes avert their eyes when discussing something personal or emotional, That way, it's just a lot easier to not look at the other person's face. And online communication offers this opportunity. In cyberspace, people don't interact with each other in real time, and this is called asynchronicity. And it may take minutes, hours, days, or even months for someone to reply to you. And in real life, however, immediate feedback it has a very powerful effect on like the flow of a conversation you're having with someone. So when there are delays in the feedback, it's more comfortable and it feels safer to say something since you have like a lot more time to think about it. And also, when you leave a message behind, you can kind of just leave it there and not face consequences in real time. And it's like participating in emotional hit and run. The next factor is known as dissociative imagination. And people may feel that their online personas exist in a dream world, separate and apart from the demands and responsibilities of the real world, and they split or dissociate online fiction from offline facts. And it can be suggested that some people see their online life as kind of a game with rules and norms that don't apply to the real world. And once they turn off their computer, just return to their daily routine, they just leave that virtual world behind and their identity behind with it. Next is the concept of minimizing authority. And the main idea of this is that people are unaware of your power and status in real life. You could be a president of some major corporation or just some ordinary person, and people will still have no idea. And even if like you do make it clear, that elevated position may have little effect on your online presence and influence, because in most cases, everyone on the internet has an equal opportunity to voice him or herself, and everyone, regardless of status, wealth, gender, is equal. So you have equal opportunity to voice your opinion. And in real life, people are very reluctant to say what they say or think if they're in front of an authoritative figure because of the fear of disapproval or even punishment. But online, people are much more willing to misbehave. So it's been theorized that the disinhibition effect releases inner needs, emotions, and attributes to like the hidden, just like your hidden personality behind the superficial world of everyday life. And all in all, it is very tempting to conclude that the disinhibition effect reveals one's true personality. So the behavior amongst anonymous people greatly affects those partially targeted by it. And even though cyberbullying does not involve personal contact between the cyberbullier and the victim, it's very psychologically and emotionally damaging to the person. And furthermore, when you're being harassed by someone anonymous, it's like a very just like nervous experience to think that like they may have some personal information about you and they could blackmail you, and you have no idea who that person is, what they're capable of. You don't know like how far they'll actually go to torment you. And so just if you can imagine the stress behind that, it can be pretty scary. And the Cyberbullying Research Center released many studies having to do with cyberbullying. And here's a graph showing the percentages of different emotional responses amongst just a bunch of students. The sample size was 468. And as you can see, many students felt frustrated, angry, and sad. And so as you can see, it's a pretty problematic issue. And the Research Center also claims that 75% of teens have been bullied online, and only 10% of these teens have reported the problems to their parents or other adults. And more than 1 in 3 young people have experienced cyber threats. And I was looking for methods of how they collected this information, and I was unable to find those, so I don't really know if these claims are accurate or not, because statistical error could have been made within like poor sampling or data collection methods. But if they are Cyberbullying Research Center, so I'm just willing to assume that they know what they're doing. All of cyberbullying is a major problem for teenagers. It takes place through nearly any form of online communication. Customer service representatives and billing specialists have shared some of their experiences and discussed how one's behavior, especially their language, can change. And Catherine McIntyre, a 38-year-old medical billing specialist for Houston, says that it's mind-boggling the things people will say and even the things I will say. People who never say something horrible in real life will do it again and again and again online. It's appalling the way people talk. They'll rant and rave and cuss at us with extremely foul language. And then Sherry Pineda, a 59-year-old customer service representative, says, people get sucked in. You can be whoever you want, you can put out there whatever you want, and there are no consequences. I even got sucked in and was mean to people. I consider myself better than that, but I did it too, and that bothers me. I guess it's just a dynamic. So online video games, cyberbullying also takes place there because it's a highly competitive scene, and it often occurs when players go into like a rage out of frustration and lash out at their opponents by using harsh language. And I've been a part of like the online gaming community for most of my teenage years, and I have experienced a lot of just harassment and rude remarks. And to give you a better idea, I actually played StarCraft a lot this weekend to get examples of this, but I don't know if you can read these.
It was research, right, Steven?
Yes.
It was all research.
And you know, it's just a typical competitive strategy game where two players face off against one another. And I played roughly 8 games, and I had like 3 different people just rage at me over the dumbest things after they lost. And if you can read it, it's just like an impulsive spew of rage. And I also censor the names for confidentiality reasons. Like, even though none of you play StarCraft, like, at least I don't think so. I don't want any of you going online and harassing them. And then, like, this chat right here took place at the end of the game. But anyway, the interesting thing about this is I've been to 3 StarCraft tournaments throughout the years, and not once have I had someone come up to me and say, like, you suck, you're a noob. You know, like, you know, maybe on the inside they say that, but they just come up to me and shake my hand, like, win or lose and say good game. But this is just like a lot more frequent because, you know, they're behind the computer screen and they don't have to face consequences for it. And another thing with online gaming is, even though you have an online game, it takes so long to destroy your anonymity. I mean, destroy your reputation, because there are millions of players online. So even if you like damage it with, you know, 10 people, you could just transfer to a different server, like, and play with Japanese people. Like, it's impossible to destroy your reputation. And personally, this stuff no longer affects me. I actually find it highly entertaining. But when I was younger, it definitely did. I would get so angry with people and just sit there and like just rage back and forth with them for 10 minutes, just saying like who's better at the game. And that's the thing about cyberbullying. You have to like learn how to not become emotionally involved. And I know it's way easier said than done, but in the cases where someone anonymous has no effect on your life, the best thing to do is just walk away and move on. And I do realize there are like way more extreme cases where someone can get their hands on your personal information and start blackmailing you. And these cases, the best thing to do is just block that person the best you can, whether it be on like Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, or you know, even your cell phone. Just use block features, and then immediately seek counsel guidance or to avoid any further issues, like legal guidance. And that is my any questions?
Yeah, earlier in your presentation, you talked about emotional input. Can you explain more what that is?
Basically, I guess, if you had to tell someone, like, really shaming news, you know, if you email it to them, you don't have to deal with, like, the immediate kind of response or feedback. It's just, like, more stressful. But if they're, like, right in front of your face, like, you know, people say it to my face, like, it's much harder to do. But if you just, like, say it and kind of leave it behind and